welcome back to the O-Cheap channel, the channel dedicated to all things cheap in the world of fragrances. In today's video, we are taking another look at a line of fragrances, and this one is one that I've been hyping up and talking about for a little bit, and it's one I've really been looking forward to talking about, and hopefully it'll even be a staple video on this channel because it's taken me a good bit of time to get these and try them out and wear them and really get to know them. I think this is one that all of you will enjoy as well, and because there are so many in this line, I'm going to try not to have too much time on each one, which also means I'm not really going to go through the note breakdown on these fragrance sites like I usually do and where I give the graphic and all that, because that takes a lot of time. If I did that for each one of these, this video would easily be like 45 minutes or so, and I don't want it to put you through that. In case you don't know by the title or the thumbnail, we are talking about the Bentley For Men line from Bentley. Yes, Bentley is a car company. You don't usually expect a whole lot from car companies because they're really looking at a single product, which is the cars, and that the fragrances are just a secondary or third item that they're going to sell along with it just to get a little extra money and kind of get to draw you in. But I will say Bentley is one that does not skimp out on quality across the board, whether doing cars or fragrances. And this whole line is notable for being a good quality on the cheap. But it all starts with this first one here, which is the original Bentley For Men. So what you're gonna get out of this fragrance is something that is very sweet, boozy, a little aromatic, a little fresh spicy. You have notes like bay leaf, which are a little noticeable as you get into it. You do have a almost green herbaceousness, but it's not overwhelming. And you do have a lot of spices in here, especially cinnamon, which have a sweet kind of spice to it. You do get some woods and a good bit of a glowing kind of amber feel, but what is most notable on this is that sweet booziness. I think there is a rum note in here, which is the specific booze of choice, but it is a very masculine, very well appealing scent. It is a little mature, but I think young guys could easily pull this off. Obviously, this is going to be more suited for the colder weather like fall and winter. I think maybe even springtime you can get away with it, and some people might even say you can get away with it even through all year into the warmer months as well. But I specifically like it in the colder months because it gives me that warm, cozy feeling, especially with things like benzoin, which give that warm vanillic feel. It really just wraps you up and makes you feel all comfortable and cozy while also being very classy. It also has things like a leather note and woodsy notes, adding even more to that masculine feel. But what you're gonna get most is that noticeable booziness and that sweetness, but it is a very well appealing scent, very smooth, high quality, not too bad at all. And performance on this is really good. Easily a medium projection for the first hour and a half, and longevity is going into 6 to 7 hour range, so getting average or almost a little above, and it dries down to a very nice skin scent, still keeping majority of that warmth and the spices and that woodiness as it dries down. Availability on this is pretty good as well, found at most discounters, even found some at rack stores, and the price ranges between like $20 to $25, which is not bad at all. It's also worth noting that the renowned perfumer Natalie Lorson did this one as well as the one after this, and a lot of other amazing quality cheapies for things like Encre Noir Line by Lalique and even some other Bentley fragrances, which adds even more to why this is such a good quality. And it's amazing that that kind of profile can be made for such a good price, but it's good for us because we get to enjoy it here. But that's this one here, the original Bentley For Men. Now let's go on to the next one. Now moving on to the next one, and I think it's actually the one that is the most hyped out of all of these here. It's the one that I think put the Bentley For Men line on the map, and it's the one that a lot of the fragrance community, majority, will say is a niche quality for a cheap price. You already know what it's going to be. It is none other than this one here, Bentley For Men Intense. So everyone from fragrance reviewers to professional perfumers have talked about this one, rating it either as a niche style fragrance for a very good price that is super smooth, well put together, and is like the top creme de la creme, or some people will say that it's completely unwearable, that it's a bad composition, and that it's not even a market out there for anyone who would want to get this. But I totally disagree with that second half. I think that this is definitely a niche style and profile for an amazing price. So what you're going to get out of this one is exactly what the name says. This is the original Bentley For Men, the first one we looked at, but made more intense, made more impactful, more outstanding, deeper, richer, and more noticeable. So this is exactly the same profile. You get that sweet booziness, but it's actually not as sweet as the original Bentley For Men. This is actually dialing back on that sweetness, making it a little more mature, and it's bumping up all the booziness and the spiciness. You don't get as much of the bay leaf on this one. You're also bumping up that amount of leather and the woods, and you're adding in a note of incense, making this extremely smoky. I definitely noticed this being more smoky the more I wear it now than when I first wore it. And even though the boozy sweetness is dialed back a little bit, you still get the benzoin warmth in this. I think even more so than the first one. I think it still has that same kind of glowing effect to it. When I smell this fragrance, I just think of a incandescent bulb or a fireplace, something that's warm, glowing, and emanating. It just feels cozy, but yet, like I said, that leather and the incense smokiness and all of that make it also an edgy, bad boy-esque kind of fragrance. The performance on this, like the name says, is going to be more intense, but it also has a little bit different smoothness about it. Unlike the first one, of course, that extra incense note does make it stand out more, so it is going to be noticeable, pushing all of that in the background. I do think the projection in this is a little more loud initially, then it dials back a little bit after that hour to hour and a half mark, and longevity is about the same as the original, maybe a tad bit longer, but what makes this different than the original is the denseness that's in the formulation. The original has a little bit more smooth, sweet, almost freshness, but this has a little more compact denseness to it that when you get closer to your skin, you're going to notice it almost like a wall of fragrance there. So it may not be projecting so much after that hour and a half, but while it is there, it's going to be a dense wall and aura of fragrance. And the seasonality on this is like the first one, more for the cold weather like fall to winter, but I think it even works even better in the extreme cold, especially those Christmas seasons, and at nighttime is really where this thing's gonna shine. You definitely wanna wear this in the warmer weather because that denseness it has is going to lift off more if it gets hotter and more worked up. And because of that smokiness and that leather and all of that, it's gonna make it a little less tolerable than usual. But this is still extremely sexy, mature, like old money, bad boy rebel kind of vibes. I really do like it. The profile in this is unlike anything that I'd expect from a designer brand, and especially from something from this price range, which, speaking of availability on this, is gonna be the same even as the first one, if not even more so, because it is very sought after and might sell out a good bit, but because there is a big demand for it, I do think a lot of discounters will try to keep this in stock more often, and it is so inexpensive that you really can't afford not to try it out and get it. The scent profile to me is absolutely amazing, but it's not gonna be for everyone. It is a little complex. It does have a little harshness here and there, but I think that's kind of part of the character. I would definitely say sample this or try it in store before committing to a full bottle, but it is so inexpensive. If you want to blind buy it, just be aware of the risk. I'm personally very glad that I decided to try this out. I absolutely love the fragrance. Something about it is very addicting to me. I just kept wearing it the first week I got it over and over. I couldn't get enough of it, and I still love it just the same, and I highly recommend that you try it out. It's Bentley For Men Intense. Now going on to the next one, but real quick note, these aren't really going by chronological order of when they were released. It's kind of just how I decided to talk about them and how I wanted to walk through it. But let's go to the next one here. This is Bentley For Men Azure. You may have seen this around. I know if you were on Ross's channel at TLTG Reviews, he's definitely talked about this one a fair good bit. This is the first of the fresher, more summer-oriented ones that we're going to talk about. It's one that is very sweet, fruity, citric. It's very aquatic, ozonic. It is light. It is airy. Very much the spring, summer, at the beach kind of vibe feel. It is one that's very playful, a lot more youthful, but I think still older guys can enjoy this just the same. Some of the fruits that I think are more noticeable is pineapple and tangerine, very tropical. And then it gets into some clary sage, that herbaceousness I really do notice. And you also get some tea and lavender, adding in, I think, some floral herbaceousness to it, and it dries down to having something that's like tonka bean and a cashmere wood, just a very soft, almost clear, transparent wood note. This is going to have a little bit of resemblance to something like Azzaro Chrome, but it's not really going to be so metallic and old school as that. This definitely has a more modern take on it. But if you smell them side by side, or if you're used to that fragrance or you have a familiarity with it, you definitely are going to see the ties that it has with it. It's going to be very generic. It is going to be very standard, not really inspiring, but it still is really, really good. Performance on this is going to be pretty loud for the first hour, hour and a half, especially in the heat. It's going to come off your skin and really feel the air. Of course, it depends on how much you spray on. And longevity on this is going to be easily 5 to 6 hours. It's not going to be so long lasting. It is a freshie, so it's going to come off a little easier, but it does dry down to something that has a little bit of a warmth, musky, herbaceousness to it. But it is so inexpensive, you can always reapply it whenever you need to. Obviously, seasonality, like I just said, is gonna be more summertime, the hot weather, spring, summer, and again, like at the beach, at the pool, out with friends, going about in the day. It's easy to like, easy to wear, not gonna get offended by it in any way, but again, it is also not very unique. Availability on this is really gonna depend on where you look. I know I found this at Fragrance Buy, I know Fragrance Net has it, but it really just depends on where you're looking around. Just be careful that you don't pay too much for this. I think I found this for around $28, $30, which still isn't that bad. But I do really like it. Again, easy to wear, easy to love. You want something that's not gonna be too complicated, but yet inexpensive and a really good quality, still very smooth as well. I'd highly recommend getting this one here. It is Bentley For Men Azure. Going into the next one here, again, another one meant for the hot weather, spring and summer. It is this one here, Bentley For Men Silverlake. Real quick, I actually want to take a look at the bottle. I really love how this style is more reflective, matches the name. It's very different from the other ones that they have here. It just seems like it's a different style and step up from what they usually do. What you're going to get with this fragrance is something that's very bright, citrus, a little aromatic, green, almost herbal, and it gets into some florals. It is still also very ozonic, very aquatic, very fresh, lively, and airy. The more noticeable notes you have with this is an opening of lemon, like I said, those citruses. Along with that opening of citrus, you do get some mid of florals, again, some violet leaves and lavender in there. And as it dries down, you get a good bit of a muskiness, a little bit of woodiness, and a little bit of an ambery warmth, but not too much. It still has that aquatic nature in there as well. So you can think of it as like an aquatic amber that comes up underneath it. The similarities that you're going to find with this is probably going to be something with Acqua di Gio by Giorgio Armani. A lot of people say it actually reminds them more specifically of Acqua di Gio Essenza, but I think it does open up with that. You get a little bit as it goes through, and as it dries down, you get more of Ralph Lauren's Polo Deep Blue. I really get strong similarities between that and this, especially that ambery aquatic dry down on it. Performance on this, as you'd expect from a freshie, is a good medium to loud performer on that first, I say, hour or so. Of course, it depends on how much you spray on, and then the longevity is going to be somewhere between that 6, maybe 7 hour range, depending on how you wear it. I've easily gotten almost a full day's wear out of this, and I've had other people that I've recommended this to that went and bought it say it's lasted them a whole day, so that's good on them. So it's kind of varied performance between me and other people. Of course, it's going to wear different on everybody, but on me personally, I've gotten easily like 6 to 7 hours. Of course, seasonality is going to be the warm, hot weather from spring to summer. This does have a little more of a classy edge to it, so I think you could wear it even more in the daytime than you probably would at night, but you could wear it really either way. You could wear it casually, out with friends, or even dressed up formal on a Sunday gathering or with family or with business. I think it also makes a fairly good office scent. It is very clean, it's inoffensive, it's going to be easy appealing and easy to like. Availability on this is going to be a little more difficult than most of the ones here. I have found that this sells out pretty frequently and it's not often stocked that quick either. So if you do happen to find this for a good price, which I think I got mine around $30, $32, I would definitely recommend that you pick it up immediately if any of that scent profile sounds good to you, because you might not be able to find it so quick again after. I've seen it on both Fragrance Buy, Fragrance Net, and most of the other discounters as well. Even some people have told me they found this at rack stores, so definitely be looking at those stores as well. Overall, I do really like this one. I think I actually like this one more than Azure. I found that it has better performance, and I do think it's a little more complex profile. And even though it is very similar to those other fragrances, I do find it's a little more unique to me than that one, a little more appealing as well as far as my style. I do find that it's more classed up, more upscale than Azure. I think this is the grown man's version of that one, but I do think anyone can rock this one very easily. It's super good quality as to be expected, like all these here. It is just very smooth, very well put together. Nothing really sticks out, no frayed edges. It's just all together and smells complete. It's one that I will continually to talk about as being a really good spring and summer fragrance, especially being a good alternative to those other ones that it smells similar to. It is this one here, Bentley For Men Silverlake. Now going on to the next one here, and it's actually one I talked about in a recent video when I did 5 cheapie signatures, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it. I'm going to go through a lot that I said in that video. It is this one here. It is Bentley For Men Black Edition. So I find it kind of strange that recently everyone in the cheapie fragrance community have been talking about this one right after I posted that video about it. Not saying that I did anything, but it is kind of weird how everyone at the same time collectively found out about this hidden gem, which, hey, that's fine with me because this thing really deserves the recognition that it's getting. With this fragrance, you're gonna get something that is very sweet, musky. It has a fresh, almost wateriness about it. Has a little bit of a mineralic, almost earthiness to it, a strong violet note, some good woodiness, and some aromatics that help back everything up. You have some spicy notes like pink pepper, even some earthy notes and sweet notes, I guess, that help add a little more interest and alluring factor to it. Even notes like papyrus and cedar and tobacco, just a lot of different notes that are both dark and light, dense and fresh. It just brings it all together, being something that is very unique. You think that all those contrasting kind of ideas of notes and scent profiles would be kind of like an awkward mess, but it's really not. This is amazingly put together. And the reason I put it in my signatures video is because this is something that, because of that contrast of light and dark, that you get really the best of both. You can wear this almost all year round, whether daytime or nighttime, any situation. You can class it up or you can dress it down. You can go out with friends or family or business or whatever. It fits really any situation. It's extremely clean, makes you smell well groomed. It's very professional as well. It's just really does everything that you need to do. It's just an amazing scent. Like I and a lot of other people say, it's a hidden gem. Really good find, and it's a really good price as well. Availability on this, you can find almost everywhere the same as you can most of these, and the price really isn't that bad either. I think I picked this one up for, again, between $25 and $30. And as far as performance, this is really good. Average, a little above performer. I've had this to be a good projection for the first hour, hour and a half, medium to medium loud, and longevity is easily 7 hours. I've had this to last on me a whole work day, even about going home. I have a friend of mine who wears this a lot as well, and it lasts him a whole day. And even if you see that the performance is tug of war between people, I get this or I get that, just the scent profile alone is worth getting because it's way higher quality than the price would suggest. I mean, going to high designer, even niche style, I think for sub $30. Again, hidden gem, super versatile, the most versatile and wearable out of any of these here. You cannot go wrong with this one. It is one that I'll continue to talk about and continue to wear and enjoy. It is this one, Bentley For Men Black Edition. Now we're finally at the end, getting into the last one here, and it's one that actually came out a good bit before a lot of the other ones here, but like I said, I'm not going through chronological order, just by how I feel and how I want, and I want to talk about this one last because everyone hypes up Bentley For Men, especially Bentley For Men Intense, having a niche profile, and a lot of other ones here are really good profiles, but this one I think is right along with Bentley For Men Intense and having that niche style and profile. Not everyone's gonna like it, but those who do will love it. It is this one here, Bentley For Men Absolute. So this is probably the one I'm going to be the most excited to talk about because I've recently got onto it and started wearing it after buying it, and I really, really love it. What you're going to get with this one is one that is very spicy up front with a noticeable ginger note. There is some pink pepper, but to me the ginger is the most noticeable because of that almost fruity sweet spiciness, but it's not overly sweet. In fact, I think this fragrance is pretty much void of any kind of sweetness. It's just that earthy, herbaceous kind of spiciness. And then you quickly get into some mid notes, which include a note of olibanum, which is another word for frankincense, giving a good bit of a smoky, resinous quality. It's not gonna be the same kind of incense note that you'd find in Bentley For Men Intense, but it is a little similar, giving that smokiness to it. And then you get into some papyrus, which is a shared note with Bentley For Men Black Edition, but it's paired right alongside some things like atlas cedar and sandalwood. You get some agarwood and oud, but overall what that makes is a front forward spicy, getting into quickly some smokiness, and then right above everything in the background, almost covering all of it, is going to be a very dense but very dry woodiness. That sandalwood, I think, to me is the most noticeable, and it's a kind of sandalwood that gives that dry, freshly cut pencil shavings kind of smell that is just like almost musky, almost old. A lot of people say this smells like old vintage church pews, which I think gives a nice imagery. The fact that a fragrance can conjure something like that, I think is actually pretty impressive, and I don't mind it at all. It does have a antique vintage wood kind of smell, and to me personally, I'm all about it. I think it adds even more, improves even more, that this is a niche profile. A lot of people say that this is very similar to the now discontinued Gucci Homme, but me personally, through my recent fragrance discoveries, I found this is actually very close to Imaginary Author's Cape Heartache, which is a very dense, woody, but more coniferous, almost piney kind of smell. It is a photorealistic outdoors in the woods on a campsite in the morning, smelling the fireplace in the distance along with all your friends, and you're getting down to the campsite on a hiking trail and everyone's fixing breakfast. It just gives me the ideas of that, and this really smells very, very, very close to it. It's actually surprising how good it is. The other contention that people will have with this is that they do like the scent profile, but it doesn't perform good on them. That people say it lasts only 15 to 20 minutes, or it only lasted me an hour, or it didn't even last me a full 5 minutes. You hear it all the way. But me personally, I've done wearings with this recently, and I found this has lasted me easily 5 to 6 hours, maybe nothing more than that, but I think if you give a full wearing, especially on clothes, it will last you a little bit longer than that. But really, the way this scent profile is, you don't want it too loud. You want it to be something that is a little intimate, but adds a little bit of nuance and atmosphere to you. It's, like I said, very photorealistic woods. It'll smell like you just came out of a wood workshop. I mean, like you just got done doing some carpentry work on the side. It just has that kind of feel about it. So you don't want it to be too loud because that dryness may be overpowering. But I honestly think it's perfect the way it is, with a intimate to medium projection for majority of the life of the fragrance. And like I said, easily 5 to 6 hours longevity, maybe more on clothes. And obviously seasonality with this, I think, is easily fall through spring, probably the more cooler parts of spring, but easily the cool of fall, the dead of winter, all the way through day or night, and the cool of spring. But I do see this being maybe a little more of a nighttime fragrance because of that smokiness. It just seems like you've just been around a campfire or cutting wood for a campfire, or you've been out at a campsite, sitting in your tent. It just has that kind of smell and air about it. I really, really do like it. I can't say that enough. The only other thing is going to be availability on this. I think it's right along with Silverlake over here, where it does sell out pretty quick and it's not restocked as often. My bottle here is a tester because it was a better price, and I actually got it for like $28, which was fantastic. But I have seen full-size bottles at discounters go up to almost $40, maybe around $35. But I have also seen people finding these at rack stores, especially at Burlington. So if you have been going around rack stores, especially Burlington, be on the lookout for this one here. I know it might seem like I'm singing the praises of this one a little too much, but I cannot express enough how floored I was when I first smelled this. It wasn't too impressive at first when I sprayed on test strip, but when I started wearing it on myself, especially as it's gotten colder recently, I've just been loving it. Absolutely, it's right up my alley, the kind of things I like, which I do love really woody fragrances, but I just could not get over the uniqueness of it and the niche style and take that this has. I really appreciate it, and I think it really deserves a lot more love. So definitely be getting onto this one and let me know what you think about it. It is this one here, the last one here, Bentley For Men Absolute. And here it is, guys, the Bentley For Men line as it is right now in December of 2024. If they do happen to add any more of these in the future, I'll be sure to promptly pick it up and make an update video. But as of now, this is what we got here. 6 of them. Majority of these are going to be for more cooler weather, but you do have some in here that are perfect for warmer weather, and even one in here that is really good for either or, but something that will cover all bases. All of these are really very smooth, super high quality, and they range between $20 to $40, sometimes even $20 to $35. So still sub 40, very inexpensive, and they're all amazing quality. Things that are sweet and spicy and boozy, things that are very woody, dense, smoky, things that are citric, fresh, all things in between. Really, you cover almost all bases here. Things that are casual, things that are formal, business, church, you know, wherever you need it. Day or night, hot or cold, it covers all of it. Amazing line, super underrated as a whole. There's some in here that people will pick out, but I think the whole line deserves recognition. To me, all of these are staples in the fragrance community, and really Bentley as a brand is a good staple brand. If you own any of these or all of these, let me know what you think about them in the comments below. Which one is your favorite? Which one do you tend to wear more in certain seasons, and why? Or which ones are you looking forward to getting? Or are there other Bentley fragrances that I happen to be missing out on? Let me know all of that in the comments below. I love reading your comments. I try to reply back when I can. Sometimes I'll just go through and give a heart, but I do try to go back and read back through it and respond when I can. I love the interaction. I love the community that we have, and I want to keep that going. If you enjoy this video, please consider giving me a like. Let me know so that I can make more content like this in the future. And if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, but you enjoyed what you're seeing here, you just came in because you wanted to see a video covering this line, please consider subscribing and showing some support to the channel. There's a lot of things I have planned in the future like this that I think you would really enjoy. I'd love to have you run along with me along this fragrance journey, and hey, maybe I can help you discover something new along the way. And as usual, guys, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you again for being here with me. I hope that you enjoyed it. I will see all of you again, as usual, in the next video. Be blessed.